Hey, what's going on everyone? Today we're going to be reviewing a new instrument cluster display for Tesla Model 3 and Model Y. And this was one of those products that I wasn't really looking forward to it, thinking it was going to be just another display that I've already shown in the channel, but it is not. They did something different with this display with just the minimalist design that they put together. Not a lot of bells and whistles like the other displays that we have seen, but it includes front camera, it includes Apple Carplay, Android Auto. It has a really nice UI, very minimalist, simple UI with large fonts, and I think you're gonna really like it. There are likely multiple sellers for this display, but we got ours from Test Studio, which is the US-based reseller of this product, and they made some tweaks on this one based on my feedback, and hopefully they continue to make those tweaks in the future. They are not paying us. They did send it free of charge to review in our channel. If you do make a purchase using our discount code Shiva Tesla, you should be able to save significant amount of money, and in return, at no additional cost to you, we may make a very small commission, which helps us bring videos like this in the future. Let's get started. All right, let's do a quick unboxing, show you some of the wiring, and then we'll move on to the installation. The box looks actually really nice. The cover shows the display, and it is a little bit of a thought out box, which is a good sign for the product itself when they put thoughts into packaging, which is what we have seen in the past. So let's remove this. User manual, the first one that actually comes with the legit user manual, pretty nice looking user manual. It shows you all the instructions on how to access everything. Again, very good sign, right? This is all pointing to a high quality display. Now first we have got the camera extension cable. So this is that when you plug into the front, there is also the camera here, and you just extend this all the way inside. They put the protective casing around the camera cable so that they should protect it from pinching and anything. So they put some thoughts into that, which is really good. Again, here is your power cable for Intel, so that this whole giant cable does not become bulky, because Hansho and other companies like Tesla Studio has been sending us one cable, which is good and a bad. One cable that goes for both Intel and AMD, but then if you have an Intel, then you got this bulky extra thing just hanging there. So this time they sent both cable, power cable. Depending on your configuration, you might want to choose which one you have. So this is for the Intel. If you have Intel, I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. And then this is the AMD power cable. Now here is the display itself. So if you look at it, it does not come pre-mounted like some of the other packaging, which is okay. I think they do this for shipping purposes. So the display is here. We just route the wire through these holes and then install the display using the screws that they sent and mount it in the steering wheel column. They got a USB-C in the back for software upgrade, and we got 3 cables here. This is for the ground, this is for power, and this is for the camera cable. So we're going to be connecting it, just 3 cables, and just looking at it, my first impression, it is very tiny on here, but very rectangular shape. It's stretched out, so I'm hoping that they made multiple split screens that we can see, but I don't know. Let's find out. Now for this assembly here, we just have to face the screen towards the front, which is this side is going to be front, this side is going to be back, and we just pass these cables through this opening here, one at a time. So when we pass this, they go through. So here, the blue cable passed through. Now, this just sits at a bracket, and they made this mounting hardware really nicely so that it flushes here, and then all we have to do then is use the screws and the screwdriver that they provided to secure it here. So these 2 holes are for the screws, then this full unit is going to be secure. To check if you have an Intel or the AMD chip, go to your vehicle setting, go to software menu, go here and press on this additional vehicle information. And this is where you are going to see, if you look closely on this pop-up here, it will show that infotainment processor is AMD Ryzen. So if you have the Intel Atom, this is where it will show that it is an Intel Atom. Next, we're going to remove the side dash trim panel on both sides of the car. We need to also remove this side door panel on both sides. If your car has an AMD chip, you also have to remove the bottom door panel. Once you remove the side trim panels on both sides, the dash easily comes out. Now after you remove that bracket, I would also recommend you remove this weather stripping temporarily so it is easier to work in this space. There is the next step is to remove this plastic fastener. From here, you can just use a pry tool that came with the kit like this and just remove this plastic fastener from here. It's a super simple step, and when you do that, it actually allows us to remove this entire panel altogether. So if you look at it here, this is loose, and we can remove this whole thing and set it aside. Now there is two more things we have to do. One is right here. We got to remove this so we can access the blue OBD plug from inside. So remove this. Now when you remove this, there is the blue OBD plug. That is it. That is our data plug that we need to connect to for this installation. So they're nice enough to send you both male and female of the OBD port because once you plug this in, the Tesla only has a female port there. Once you plug this in, you will lose access to other accessories in the future. So they actually send you both, which is really nice. Now we just plug this in, you still have this end. You can tap this for now and just cover it using electrical tape, but you don't have to. Now to install this is super easy. You take this male end of the plug, align it with the female end of the Tesla, and then simply slide this in. So blue matches the blue, and once you find that spot and align it, you just click it into its place, and there you have it. That OBD is now connected there. This is an extra plug, as I said, so you can connect other accessory in the past, and you can just hide that. Now we just need power for this connection, which is this plug. Now for the AMD car, this is your power plug, and it even says the AMD power source here on the level. And how you install this is super easy. This is your 12-volt power in the Tesla. So this is where we're going to be tapping into it, creating a Y connector. So first what we do is we remove this plug by pinching on the middle here and pulling this plug out. And as soon as you remove it, you take the male end of this new harness and plug it right into the 12-volt port here. And then you create a bypass here and then plug it into the female end. So it clicks into its place. There you have it. The power source is now done, and we did the whole Y connector. Everything is happy. Now that was the AMD connection, but if you have an older Intel car, this is how you do that connection. You don't tap here. You just go underneath here and remove those 4 plastic fasteners, and you will get access to the computer. 4 plastic screws. You can use a pry tool to remove them. Once the panel is removed, you will see the LED light connector, which can be removed by pinching on the middle tab and pulling it out. Then the speaker plug can be disconnected by simply pulling on the plug. This is the difficult plug we need to remove for the cars with an Intel chip. You just have to pinch on the middle tab, and while holding it down, pull the plug out. Then take the new harness and plug the male Tesla adapter into the female adapter of the new harness, and then take the new male adapter and plug it into the Tesla computer. Make sure to align the plug straight to prevent bending Tesla pins. Again, this is super tedious and requires a lot of patience. At the end, it should make a complete circuit. Let's just start with the camera installation. For those of you who are not interested in the camera, you're gonna skip ahead. I'll put a timestamp for this, but for camera, it is a pretty straightforward installation, but very tedious. So this is the extension, as I said. So this will take this camera connection and then allow you to connect it all the way towards the front. So this is all wire routing. The camera itself looks like this. And what this does is it has got this lid over here that you can just connect it to either red or black, it doesn't matter. And then they send you the hardware for it. Now for this camera connection, this is a plastic hinge that is going to be mounted underneath the front license plate, or if you don't have a front license plate, we're going to paste this directly on the front bumper. I'll show you where. They send you this very, very strong 3M adhesive. We had a previous generation installed for about a year now, and it is still going well with just the adhesive, no problem. But if you want further security, you can also put this screws in there to secure this. But what you're going to do is there is a orientation for the camera. It shows you a little arrow that shows going up. So this is the positive. So you want to face this up like this. And all you have to do is slide the cable through here. So this part, and because this is going to be going on the bumper area, then what we are going to do is put this out like this, and then we are going to put the screws in here. So there are 2 screws that they send, the smaller screws, and we're going to secure this camera using those 2 screws right here. And that's it. So once we secure that, we'll paste this on top and then make the camera connection. So I've already put 1 screw over here, and it's the same exact process. You take one of these screws, put it in through the hole here, and then you secure it in place. And there you go. So this is good to go. Now we're gonna go over here and we need to remove this panel, basically all of this, so that we can route the camera harness from underneath here, from the front, through the vents here, all the way towards the inside of the car. The first step is to remove the air vent here. These are just held down by a couple of clips, so shouldn't be very difficult to remove this. It just kind of pops out. Again, these are the clips that they are holding it down. So you just have to apply some pressure and then it comes out. Where things get a little bit different between the newer and the older Teslas. So the newer Teslas, if yours look like mine with the AMD chip, you're going to have two 10mm socket screws here, and then there's going to be two 10mm there. So those are the 4 ones, and you are also going to have a little plastic pin here that you got to remove. Now if you have an older Tesla, you're going to have 2 on the clips here as well as 2 on the front, and I'm going to show you how to do that here. I have a bookmark in the video to show you older versus newer Tesla. So this is for the newer Tesla. Again, this is where you're going to remove it. If this is what yours look like, these are the plugs you have to remove. There's 2 screws here, 2 screws there. So let's go ahead and remove that now. So you can take a standard socket wrench and then just remove this, or you can also use a drill, whatever your preference is. And I'm going to use just a standard socket and then remove this, but you can certainly use a drill, any power tools to remove this. Once you remove this, an easiest way to keep track of this screw is just drop this inside the front here, because we are going to be removing this whole thing anyway, so your screw will go with you if you just put it in the front like that. Next, we're going to take care of those 2 screws here. Again, it just takes a little bit to get this loosened, and then it comes right out. Next, we are going to just grab a pry tool and then remove this screw from here, and you just have to reach on that edge, that's the cutting there, and then this just comes out. That will remove this front panel from this unit here, so that you can easily remove this whole thing. Next thing we're gonna do is remove this panel here. As you can see, this is pretty loose already, but we do have to remove this here so that we can release this light, so you're not pulling on this light. Now, after you remove this panel, you should be able to just pull this out. But for some reason, if it is being stubborn, you can also use a small pin like this and push down on this bracket, the little tab that you see here, and then that should allow you to just pull this out completely. I would prevent pulling on the cables here. You should really focus on pulling on this bracket, and then as you see, it comes out. So that's the trick to it, is if it is being stubborn, this little thing is holding this in place. It's a design change from the older Tesla, so this is a little bit more difficult, but you can just use a little pin to pop this out. Now that we have removed all of this screw, the front is loose. We can just remove this super easily. There's nothing holding this in, and the whole thing just comes out. Remove the top air vent by simply pulling up on it. Be gentle with this process, as those clips shouldn't require much force. Remove the HVAC panel by gently pulling on it. It is held by those white clips. Pull up the front latch panel, take it out, and remove the front cable. Remove the front panel screws using 10mm socket. There are 7 screws, including the ones under the clips that are in the front. Remove the front panel by just gently pulling on the edges. Make your way around by starting on one edge of the car and go towards the other end. And for those of you who have never seen the interior of a front, this is what it looks like. It is that cover that is hiding all of this mess in here. And when you replace your power front and things, you have to tap here. But yeah, now we are going to reach underneath there through the air vents and then take that cable in and then route it from this side all the way to the back there. So what we're going to do is we're going to install the camera right here, so on the center here, so that the camera faces this way. We could do it in the bottom here, but as you can see, this is pretty closed up and it's pain in the butt to remove this. Never ever remove this without a plan. This is going to take you forever to put this back on. Unless you're planning on drilling a hole here, I would recommend you put the camera right here so that you will still see the front bumper. I mean, you can put this down, put it straight. We'll show you how to do all that adjustment, but I would find the middle point here and then put that camera here. Now we're going to paste it right here on this plastic part so that the camera kind of aligns here with the front, and then the cable we're going to pass it through here. And it's pretty easy actually through the air vent when the cable is going in. I'll show you from the top how I can see my hands coming here. So I'm putting my finger through here, and if we look at it from down below, you are able to see my finger right here. So that's how easy it is to pass that cable. Then it is all about wire routing and taking it to the back. So here's the camera, here's the cable for the camera. As I showed you earlier, this is somewhere in the middle for me, but I don't have to align that quite yet. I am just going to route this cable from the bottom, and then I don't need a fishing wire for this because I should be able to just feel it from the top here as I showed you guys earlier, and then get the cable. So here's the cable from the top, and now we can go ahead and install this camera and then route everything to the front. So Tesla helped me identify where the midpoint is because they put this vent accordingly. So there's 3 of these panels here. So 1, 2, 3. This one is in the very middle. 1, 2, 3. This one is in the very middle. So this is going to be your midpoint, exactly as a midpoint. Before you do anything, take a towel and then just thoroughly clean this area. Maybe put some rubbing alcohol or however you want to put it so that it is clean, so that the 3M adhesive sticks really, really well on the surface. So after you clean it, step 1 is to take this and peel this off from the back here, and then attach this. So this is the cover for the camera itself. Now align this adhesive with the camera, and then just put this in. Now you have got the camera secured here. Now we just need to remove this backing and then stick it here, but just align the camera so that it is in the same distance as this bumper here, so that when you are looking at it, the camera is not showing the object is either too close, because if you put it here, it will show too close. If you put it way back, it might not show you as close. So kind of make this straight so that the camera is giving you the true indication of where the object is. Always be careful, because this camera might not show the accuracy. There's no ultrasonic sensor here. It'll just show the visual to give you a general idea. So for me, it is right here, and then looks like if I put my camera right at the edge here, it is balancing this out. So all I have to do is remove this, the red cover from the other side. So I just have to peel this off, and then again once more align this so that I know where the center is. So I have that centered, and then here I have this centered as well, so that is vertical here. And then I'm gonna just lightly press it, step back, look at it, and make sure that this feels right, which this feels right to me. Now I can go ahead and just simply push it in to secure it in place, and that is all you have to do. Now the camera is secure, and I can adjust the angle, as I said. So if I want to just look straight down, I can adjust it, or if I want to look straight to the front, I can do that. Mine is gonna look like this because I want to know how close I'm getting to the bumpers, with those blocks, the concrete blocks on the parking. So mine is gonna be facing down like this. However you want to face this, it just make sure that it's not too far in or out. And oh yeah, this is secure. This is not going anywhere. But if you want a peace of mind, you can also put the little screws that they sent here to further secure it. But this is good to go. And now all we have to do is route this and then do all the wire routing on the top. I'll show you how I did my routing with the zip ties. As you can see, I kind of routed it along. All these yellow zip ties are the new cable management. So routed here, zip tied it all through. I'm gonna cut the end of the zip tie, routed it through here, and then I have passed it through there, and that's where I'm going to pass it through the firewall here. You can put electrical tape, zip ties, doesn't matter. Okay, the things get a little bit difficult once you reach this area after you routed the cable all the way through here, because we have to route that cable through the firewall to the front. Now, first thing you should do is you should look underneath there and then see if there are any plastic that you can see, rubber that you can see that looks like this rubber that you see here on the left. So first look for those rubbers anywhere on any of those plugs. As you see on mine, Tesla just did a metal. They did not put any rubber anywhere, so I have no space for me to route through there. You can also, if it is easier for you, you can also remove this HEPA filter here by undoing this 10mm bolt, and then there's one on the other side too. You can also remove this here, the plastic, and then it gives you more access. But I don't have to do that because when I look at it, there is nowhere they left me any space to pass this. Everything is metal. So what I'm gonna do is I am actually going to tap here. So I am going to make a small slit on this grommet, the rubber grommet here, and then I'm going to pass my camera wire through here. This was the same case when I did my Model 3 as well, that there was no place to put it, so I ended up making a little slit on the firewall down below, but now I don't even have that space. So all I have left is here. I am going to pop that out a little bit, route the wire, and then I'm going to make a small slit to pass my wire through there. That might be your solution, but you might find other grommets or anything, kind of a leather, plastic, rubber looking thing, and then just try to pop that out and see if you can pass it through the firewall. So to route the cable, we have this fishing wire going from here, from that grommet that we talked about. Sorry, the lighting is pretty bad. It's direct sunlight here, but still lighting is bad. So I passed it through there on the side to try to get the cable from the other side. And if we look at it inside, we did found that come through here. So this is the fishing cable that's already here. Now we are just going to put some electrical tape on the other side and then route it through here. So we're just going to be simply pulling this out so that we have that camera cable that come through. So here is the camera cable. So this is the end, the tip of it, and then this is the fishing cable that we routed to the other side. And all we have to do is use an electrical tape to secure this, then we're gonna pull it from the other side. So just grab a regular electrical tape, and then you can also use some of the fishing techniques if your fishing cable came with the hook and all that. Mine doesn't have none of that, so all I'm gonna do is a good old way of securing this with the electrical tape and then just pulling it from the other side. Okay, so what I ended up doing is just passing this through here, and because this is super thin, this actually seals really well. It doesn't stick out or anything, so the firewall seals. I know this is not the preferred method of doing things. You should probably make a hole here and then pass it if you're absolutely concerned about safety or anything. But the firewall seals, in my opinion, and I'm gonna leave it like that. I like non-invasive installation, so rather than making another hole, I'm just gonna leave it like that. This is super thin cable, so no issues for me here, and this seals, as I say, I can't see the light or anything there, so I'm gonna leave mine like that. Other side, as you can see, we pass it through the firewall and it's coming right here. Now all we have is 3 plugs, one for the camera, one for power, one for ground, and we're going to route this up. So if you look at it, we kind of hide all the cables and we just routed through here. So now we just got those 2 cables, or 3 actually, the plugs, ground, power, and then the camera plug through here. And we're just going to do some cable management to hide everything so we can put this panel back together. Now we are able to successfully put this cover back on, but just be careful when you put this back on to make sure that this cable is kind of free in there, because there is one plug that goes down to secure this and another one is all the way on the top. But just make sure that this is free and it's not pinching or anything, because that's 12-volt power supply. So if you're not careful with that, Tesla will freak out that the 12-volt battery is draining and you might need a replacement. So please be careful. That is an extremely important step, that connection, the power connection, is in a complete loop. Everything is good, car is not yelling at you, and everything is happy and you're not pinching it. Now in this next step, we are going to lay the cable flat on the dash over there and put some masking tape. I know this is an added step, but it makes your life so much easier if you just put this masking tape, because we don't want these cables coming into these clips when we put the dash. And it's a hassle, it could ruin your cable. So just put some masking tape to organize this. It makes your life easier later. Now this next part requires removing this panel here. To make this a little bit easier, make sure your steering wheel is all the way out so that this process becomes easier. So pull this out so you have enough room to work with here. Next, you're going to grab your pry tool here and just remove this 2 pins that you see here. So there's one right here And then once this comes out, you don't have to completely remove it. You can leave it right there. Then the next pin is the same thing. So these pins are out. With those removed, you are able to pull this thing out. This is the leather piece here, and we are able to remove this by simply inserting our hands on the back here, and then you can then lift up on this panel here. You can use your pry tool. You can insert the pry tool here to help a little bit, but you can apply some pressure from behind here and you should be able to pull this out. Now go around and do the same thing. Just keep in mind, my panel is probably really loose because I have done this so many times, but you know, you just have to do it from both sides here, and you should be able to just remove this. There are these pins that are just holding down here. There are no screws, nothing else. So this is a pretty straightforward opening, but if you have never done this again, this might be a little scary, but just know that, you know, don't apply too much pressure, but you do have to apply some form pressure here. Now this next step requires us removing this cloth part, this leather part from our existing Tesla bracket and then insert it here, because up to here these are the same panel, the height is the same, everything is the same, but right here we don't have this piece, the cloth piece here. So we're going to replace this or remove this from here and then install it here. And to do that, you simply have to push up on these edges here. So there's one bracket here, push up and then it comes out, push up and then that one comes out. Then you just have to pinch these two together and then that one comes out. So there are multiple of them. You just have to pinch it. Again, if you have never done this, this might be a little bit hard. Ours is probably pretty loose. And to install it, same process. You just have to insert these two panels here, the clips, and all those clips are in. And now we simply lift up on this, secure that, lift up on this, secure this. Now there's just 3 cables here, 3 cables there, and we just have to connect it and put this together. Installation is exactly like how we removed it earlier. All you have to do is make sure all of these plugs are outside. We can clean that up in just a second here. And then you just slide this in to its place and it should fit perfectly because it's the exact same size, everything. So it should fit perfectly. You just have to then secure this, then clip it down everywhere, and you just have to apply some force. So let's see right here. So you should hear that click when it goes in, and then this should secure it in its place. So just go around and then do that on all directions here and make sure that this is fully secure. Then we can go ahead and finish up the installation process. Once this is secure, then you can go ahead and push these clips in exactly like how they came out. So I have to align it and then push it in on both sides. Now you can adjust the steering wheel, just making sure that everything is good to go. We're going to push this in and it's like, looks like it's fine. So this is good to go. Now we can go ahead and install this dash by, again, just sliding it into its place, align the dash on where it needs to go, and it shouldn't be a very difficult process for it to align and clip it down. So just make sure it can clip down on all directions, and if it is standing up a little bit on some directions, then you know that the cable came on the way. So just make sure that there is no cables that are on the way, and if there are, you want to align those cables and make sure they become flush. So this dash is flush for us. There is no gap in here that it wasn't there before. So we are good to go on our end. Now we just need to install the side panels and we are done with the install. So this is what it looks like from outside, from the side. And if you look at it in the back, it has got a USB-C for software upgrade and other stuff that you may need to load into the screen. But it's a very small real estate actually. If you look at it from the driver's view here, super small real estate, but it does a decent job. All right, I'm done installing this and my first impression, much better than what I was expecting. This thing is actually super nice quality, uses those large fonts in the middle, has the gear on the right, you got your percentage on the right, odometer as well as the current range, temperature, time, and all the alerts and indicators here. If we were to put the blinker, you see it right there, blinker there. And that is basically what you get, is all the alerts and everything just showing up right here in the middle. And again, a lot better than what I was thinking. Now to adjust the settings on this thing, you gotta go towards the right and then swipe towards the left. And this menu pop up. The first one is the dashboard. This second one is CarPlay. We'll go over that here in just a second. Here is a settings, and then this is everything that you get on the settings. It's not much, very minimalist. So you got language, time, ASD is your front camera, the steering wheel control on or off, tire pressure, time zone. We go to display, you see the car color, the appearance, temperature, rainbow road. I'll show you what that means. The brightness is auto, so if we just leave it in auto, it will just change the brightness with the car. Appearance is, if you leave it in auto, it will not change with the car, but it will change at a certain time, which is pretty much identical to the car. So you can change between day and night. There's no other UI. This is the only UI here. Wireless, this is for the CarPlay / Android Auto. Audio, if you want it to go through the HUD, that means go through here. And the Tesla, you can set that or just leave it as phone, so the audio will just come out of the phone. And to set up here, you can change between the Wi-Fi and everything. I'll show you how to do that. And then this is the software. There's that software, OTA upgrade. I don't trust they are going to send OTA upgrade. This to me looks like a marketing gimmick, but hey, I could be wrong, but that option is there. And again, general. And to go back, you just press this back icon and you are back, and you can change the settings. So if we go back here, there's also the final button is a power. So power off, the screen turns off. You press it again, the screen turns back on. If we were to open the door, you see the door opening, close it. It reflected that the door closed. Trunk, front, it works for everything. That graphics is really nice. If you look at it, my camera is not doing a full justice of the actually how good this looks here. Super nice and very minimalist, but at the same time they're using Tesla fonts and making this a very high quality screen. A couple of other hidden menus. So if we were to swipe here on the left or right, the volume control turns on. So this is the volume control for CarPlay and everything. So that goes there. And if you were to toggle this one on the right, if you left your brightness in manual, so let's go over here and let's leave the display brightness in manual. Then if we go back, then we can adjust the brightness directly through here. So brightness up, brightness going down. So made it super easy for us, but we can always leave that brightness by going to the display setting here, and we can just leave that to auto. And if you try to change the brightness, it will give you an alert saying the brightness is not set to manual. So that is what that does. Some hidden menu there. Now towards the left, this controls, when you are in CarPlay, this controls your play, pause, next, activate Siri. Everything is done by this scroll wheel. The right scroll wheel is what changes your settings. So from here, if we wanted to scroll down, if you look at it, what you see on this icon here is what it goes through. So the second one is Apple Carplay. You can go to, if you scroll again, Apple Carplay, and then there's the camera. If you scroll up, so that's the front camera, scroll down, and you can do split screen, you can do full screen. There's so many different settings, but that is what you get. Now quickly show you what the night mode looks like here. So if we go to display and go to night mode, go back, of course it's daytime, so that is the night mode. That's what it looks like. Looks super cool actually. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's go through the road testing and show you what this thing looks like while driving. All right, let's do some road testing, but this thing is unexpectedly good. Like, I was not expecting this to be so good. Look at it here in the middle. Great, large font, miles per hour. Very simplistic, doesn't show too much jargon in the front, just shows everything that you would need while you are driving. There's your gear, all the turn signal and everything that just shows here on the screen. Super directly in front of you, so there is no confusion of any of that. And once we start driving, the camera automatically pops up. So see that the front camera popped up and we start driving now. And once the car's speed reaches 20 miles per hour, the camera goes away, but you can always manually open the camera at any time on demand. So the camera went away, but I can just scroll this wheel towards up, and then the camera came back, scroll it towards the down, and then the camera went away. So you have on-demand camera access at all times. And if you look at it, my phone is not doing it justice. I'm recording through my phone right now, and it is amazing, like absolutely amazing. There is not much that is not to like here, right? Because that large speed that we wanted to see using Tesla font is there. It uses the MPH, not the MP/H that some companies have used in the past, and everything is large in such a small real estate. They managed to optimize it in such a good way. Like, look at that. So that is your speed there. You see it, you got your region and your energy bar right here. So if I accelerate, decelerate, it shows very, very clearly, and everything is just super clear and easy to see. Here is your driver's view. Let me expand the lens here. So if you look at it from here, especially if you got a yoke like me, you can easily see everything directly in front of you. It doesn't take up such large real estate on top, and just looks very embedded directly there. So I really like it. As I said, this is unexpectedly good. I wasn't expecting this to be this decent. I was like, this is another screen, but this is getting me excited. So this is really good. Now I found an Easter egg. What happens when we turn on the autopilot? You get the rainbow road in front of you. Super cool UI, and it shows there's autopilot. Let's see if it would give us the nag. So right now it's going. I haven't seen the nag yet. Oh, come on. When I want the nag to show, Tesla is not giving me the nag. So here is the nag, and then it does not show on the screen. The nag does not show, so this screen does not support nag. So one question I had was, what happens when the car is in autopilot? Does the scroll wheel still work? Because that affects the speed here, and they thought this through, which is great. So now the car is in autopilot, but if I train this scroll wheel, it only changes the speed of the autopilot, so speed of the car, but it does not change the settings of this. When the autopilot is toggled, this setting does not work. It only works for the autopilot there. So as soon as we get out of this autopilot, so now if I were to move this, I can change between different settings. So that's really good that they lock out the settings while the autopilot is active. So the functionality of this scroll wheel reserved for autopilot is still intact. So this is the day mode again. You see everything there, and while driving, you can still touch the screen here to make some changes, or you can just go through this settings here to change between different things. So the CarPlay versus screen versus the front camera. So you do have this scroll wheel on demand. You can also use the left scroll wheel for volume control and the song, next, play, all of that using the left scroll wheel while driving. Honestly, I think my favorite thing about this is the font that they use and speed. We have asked them to use larger font for so many years, and this is the first display that truly did it, where the font is super large and you can easily see it from the back. So they did a great job incorporating that here. One thing I found is they just need to change that speed limit sign to be a US-based speed limit sign. Right now it shows the European base with the red circle. If they change that, that would be even better. So this is the night mode UI, and look at that. It even has shadows. Looks super nice, that car logo. I mean, they topped it with everything, and it's really nice while driving through night. You see the speed large here. You got your gear selection there. Everything is right there. And if you were to open a door, so look at it, it opens, the shadow is still there. This is really nice. So here, if we go to wireless, I have connected through setup. So if we go to setup, I've connected it to Wi-Fi, which is my phone's hotspot. Now let's go and check if this OTA thing actually works or if it is just a gimmick. It says checking for OTA, register OTA information failed. Oh, OTA succeed. So register, connect OTA succeed. OTA request software succeed. Let's see if we get a software. Oh, it says no update. So it looks like we got the latest update. Maybe this is doing it. I don't know. But maybe it is just programmed to just always say that, like saying no update. I don't know. I'm so skeptical about this because I really want this to work, but I just don't see them having some kind of a server to push the update. So it says no update. All right, we'll go back. Another thing is that there is a settings here. So if I go to the settings, ASD, that's the camera, I can actually hit on settings and you can adjust the saturation, brightness, the angle, the frame rate, all of this about this camera. So if you want to make this brighter or dimmer, if the camera is not bright enough for you, then you're able to do that, which is really nice that it actually allows you to change the contrast and make that here. I don't know what this horizontal flip means. Oh, there you go. So it's flipping horizontally, it's flipping vertically, the feed that you see. I say none. Then I can also change the saturation of the feed here. I can rotate it 180 so the feed rotates. So in case you mounted your camera wrong, it allows you, the software allows you to change that, which is really nice. So we can do save and quit, and this is what you see. That's the screen, the camera in the front. Now, one thing the instructions say is that you are able to change this so that I can get a full camera view as well as a full CarPlay or Android Auto view and remove this split screen view. But there is nowhere in the settings I can find that. So look at that. There is no setting for that. If I go to display, there's no setting about not having any of this, like the split screen. If we go to wireless, again, there is no setting for that. If I go to setup, this is just Wi-Fi setup at that point. So I'm thinking maybe there is an update that I don't have that allows for this, but that is not available today. So just letting you know, I was not able to independently verify that the split screen is a toggle, which should be super simple to do. But again, it is not here on the unit I'm testing today. Now let's connect to Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Let's start with Android Auto and we'll move on to Apple CarPlay. To set this up, just go over here, swipe it, go to wireless and make sure that whatever you're connecting in is the one that is connected there and toggled in, because you do CarPlay versus Android Auto, the screen is going to reboot after you make that selection. So we have it in Android Auto, and also ensure that when you go to setup, the Wi-Fi is off. You can't have Wi-Fi on while this is connected. So make sure that the Wi-Fi is off. And what we will do is actually go back here and go back to swiping this screen, go to Android Auto, and it says turn on the cell phone, search for Bluetooth and pair. So let's just follow that instruction there. So if we were to go here, pair a new device, and let's just wait for the Bluetooth to pop up. That should show the BT link, and BT link has popped up. Let's hit pair, and the Android Auto should come up. We see the Android Auto sign on very top. It has been flashing, so it is active now. Yeah, there you go. So that means this is going to be connected. Now it will just take a second. As you see, it is appearing. I haven't given Google Map access to the network, so that's why. But if we go here, and we can start using the full Android Auto. So here you go. You got Android Auto. We can slide through this, and we can use Google Map, we can use Waze, we can use everything. And if you just hit exit from here, it takes you back to this screen. And to go back to that Android Auto screen, there's two ways. You can either slide it from the screen, as I said earlier, or you can just swipe this. So the camera, and here it shows that is Android Auto. It says before you start, because I didn't give them the location, it says open from the car screen, but this is really cool. Like you can see everything right here. So that was Android Auto. Now let's go with CarPlay here, and to just select CarPlay, you can go to the settings again and you go wireless, and you gotta make sure that this is set to CarPlay, and the system will actually reboot, as I said earlier. So confirm this, and just let that reboot. That is the welcome logo, by the way. And go to wireless. Now it shows CarPlay. Again, go to setup, make sure that the Wi-Fi is turned off. Now what we will do is go to our phone's Bluetooth settings. So I've got, yes, an old iPhone, because if it works on old iPhone, it should work on new iPhone. BT link, and it says it's connected. Now it will just ask us for if we wanted to use CarPlay with this, and use CarPlay. Now this is going to have CarPlay. So either the screen is going to automatically populate like that, and we got CarPlay, which is really nice. So now you got everything here with the CarPlay. It shows Waze, it shows Google Map. You can go through all of this. It's really cool. And with Waze, of course, you can see the signs here. There's police, there's traffic. It's really nice. So you get to use Waze directly on your screen and go to Google Map. You can do podcasts. All of this is available to you directly from here. Now here is Apple Map, and if we were to just navigate from here, it shows the navigation. We can hit go and it will start going. The one thing that sets this apart from others is that this actually supports wired CarPlay and wired Android Auto. So we have connected it through wired in the back there. I haven't plugged this in yet because I wanted to show you what this looks like. So if we were to simply push this in, so now I pushed it in, it just takes a second. So it's coming, and you see that the CarPlay plugged in right there. So this is live, and you get CarPlay, wired CarPlay. So as soon as you get into your car, if the Bluetooth one is not automatically connecting, you can have an option for a wired CarPlay, and you can just mount this phone somewhere and it will work. And just to show you that, as soon as I disconnect the phone, the CarPlay goes away. So that is awesome that the wired Android Auto and wired CarPlay works on this one. So now for the audio, there is actually a little mini speaker down here. I can feel it right here. That is amplifying that voice for this HUD. And if we were to go to the settings and go to wireless settings here, you see the audio is coming out of HUD. And what that does is, let's say if we go back to the CarPlay screen here, and there's the CarPlay screen, and we were to go to Waze, and let's say we want to go to Sheets.
In a quarter of a mile, turn right on Bluegrass Road.
So now
make a U-turn on Hershey Lane.
That is the audio that you are hearing. That is coming directly from the screen. Now there is benefit to that and disadvantage. First of all, the benefit is you hear that audio from here. That means you can put Waze and everything, and whatever you're putting on Tesla is unaffected, like the podcast or anything that you want to put on Tesla independent from your phone is not affected. So you have both audios coming out. Now if you want the audio to come out of Tesla instead of this little speaker here, then what you got to do is go over here to settings, and you got to go to wireless here, and then you got to set this to phone, and the system will restart. So it is going to restart, confirming that it's going to come out of the phone. Now what happens with that approach is that if we were to go back here to settings, and if we go to wireless, we see that the phone is the audio mode here. What that means is now my phone is going to produce the audio, but it's not going to come out of the phone. It's going to come out of the Tesla, because my phone, which is the Shiva's demo, is connected directly to Tesla. So this phone concurrently connected to the Tesla as well as this screen. Now whatever we play from here, Waze, music, anything, we will see it on the screen. So the visual is going to come out on the screen, but the audio is going to be played through Tesla's speaker, because my phone is now connected to both the car as well as this screen. So what I mean by that, if we were to go back and if we go navigation, so you see that is the audio there, the CarPlay is here. So what happens is, let's say we open Waze and we open Waze here. Now let's say I want to go to Walmart.
We're all set. Let's go.
So that
make a
audio,
U-turn on Hershey Lane.
That audio came from Tesla. So that is directly being played from Tesla's speaker. because it's connected here. How does this work? It is dual Bluetooth connected. So this is Bluetooth connected to this, as well as this is Bluetooth connected to the Tesla. That means audio is gonna come out of Tesla instead of the little speaker, but all the visuals, you see the navigation there? You're still seeing it. Only the audio is coming out of the Tesla speaker, which is best of both worlds. You get a visual on this display, audio comes directly from Tesla without connecting this display to Tesla. I would not recommend connecting that. I don't even think it's possible, but that way you see the visual here, audio comes out from Tesla's speaker. So that's how you do it. And we got ourselves Waze here. So we can go and use Waze directly on this display. So as you can see, we have got the Waze pulled up, but the camera feed comes up as soon as you put the car into drive. And we're going directly against the sunlight because I wanted to see how bad the glare would be during the day. It's a little glary, but I can still see it from my camera. And if I don't want that camera feed, again, I can swipe through left and right, but here you go. We have got Waze here. And zooming in, this is what it looks like. Waze or Apple Map, everything is going to be as good as your phone. So whatever phone you're using and the type of signal that you get is what you're going to get on the screen as well. So here we made a turn. It's taking a little bit for this to recognize it because this is a new development. The roads are not fully built out yet, but it caught up eventually. So as I said, it's going to be as good as your phone, and it's doing a pretty decent job right now. So while you're driving, the tire pressure is going to show up right here, and if you want to swipe up, this is when you will see the live camera feed. If you swipe down once, it will get rid of that and bring the main menu, and then if you swipe it down again, you will see the CarPlay or Android Auto, whatever you have that connected. So just very quickly, you can go between different things here, swiping up and down, and it's in a loop, so you can get different things in the screen directly by using the scroll wheel. So when you see this paper in our channel, that means airflow testing is about to begin. So let's do it with this screen. First of all, this is 0. There's nothing. The paper is not moving. Now let us increase this to 1. So at 1, you start seeing the paper movement just a little bit, and it is directly going to my face here. So trying to see how much air is coming to my face. There's a little bit of airflow. Of course, that airflow increases if we go closer to the screen, and more if we were to go behind the screen, of course, because there's more airflow there. Now let's increase this to 5. So this is with airflow 5, level 5, and you see a little bit more airflow coming, directly going to my face. The paper is moving. Now let me show you here. It's going a little bit more moment, and of course here you'll see a lot because it is directly to the air vent. So if you look at it, it does have an effect, right? No matter what they tell you, it does affect it because this is in front of the screen, and you see, and it blocks it. So on 5, it still blocks it a little bit, but you do feel it coming to my face, and it's not as bad. I still feel the airflow coming here, but definitely reduced. Now let's crank this up to 10. So this is at 10, and of course, there's that airflow going directly to my face, and the paper is moving a lot, so that means I'm getting a lot of airflow. And as we get closer here, you're going to see a lot, and 100% here, here. You still get a decent amount of airflow going, even directly in front. So at 10, you're gonna get it. But dropping that down to, let's say, 5, things are gonna get a little bit difficult. You may not get as much. So just keep that in mind. Even if they tell you there is no airflow blockade, it does still block it because there is no air vent, and this is literally in the path. So even though it could go from up top, I feel a lot of air just directly touching here on the display. So you are going to see reduced airflow not as bad as some of the other screens we have seen, but also not as good as some of the other screens with the integrated airflow system. So just keep that in mind. I can confirm with multiple testing that sadly this does not have autopilot nag or the side blind spot detection system that we have seen with other displays. So hopefully they incorporate this in the future software upgrade. All right, so I showed you the installation guide, I showed you the driving footages, I showed you everything that you need to know about this display. Let's talk about my verdict. Before I do that, I did want to bring up a point from my last video I made about instrument cluster display. That was that integrated the longer instrument cluster display with the leather piece. And I called that display the best display we ever had. And you guys gave me a lot of pushback. Thank you. I actually want that type of a dialogue in the channel so that you guys keep me in check, you guys keep all the vendors in check, and I want to know your honest opinion. So thank you for doing that. And what I realized after posting that video was that, yes, what I meant to say was the feature. It is a must feature rich display. Well, it's still that display because it has got the air vent, it has got the front camera, the side blind spot detection system, it has got all of that feature. But the integration part of it, yes, it is terrible. Now I look at the leather piece, and when I look at this display, I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying. That was not a good integration part of it. They need to do a better job. So thank you again for commenting and putting all of that. And I've already told the manufacturer to make a better design for that enclosure to make it more integrated for that display and add all the features that we have seen in the past. So again, thank you so much. Please continue to do that. All right, now going back to this display, I really like how well it integrates, and that was what was missing on that other display. It looked bulky. It has that leather piece that was sticking out. This one does not have any of that. Even if you look at it from the back, it is very well integrated, very much of a minimalist interior, and goes really well, especially if you have a yoke steering wheel like I do. It looks really nice. The camera is not doing a justice of showing you how good it looks. So that checks the box. I think this is going to be very appealing to a lot of people that have been wanting a decent display that has a lot of information, and at the same time it does not look bulky or out of place, and this display checks a lot of those boxes. It is not perfect. Of course, it is going to look add-on. No matter what you add to the Tesla, it is going to look add-on, but this does a really good job. I also really like the large font that they use for speed. I just think it flows really well. It's not clunky. The integration part of it, it does not feel forced with the software. It just flows really well. Some of the graphics, they're really amazing. And the features that it includes are very decent. Most amount of features that we have seen on a smaller displays like this: Apple Carplay, Android Auto, the front bumper camera. It has got some of those alerts that you see on the screen. So it has got a decent features, UI, and overall a really nice display. Some of the feedback and things I did not like about this is I think they need to have an option where you toggle the US-based speed limit that we saw on F9, the T6, some of the other displays that we have reviewed where it is the square speed limit, where you see the speed limit on the US-based side. It only has the European side here with the circle. So I think they need to include that. They also need to incorporate autopilot nag. They also need to incorporate some of the side blind spot detection system, and just add a few more features that we have seen on the other displays. And I think this will be a winner because it has got it all. Of course, there is the second version of this that we will review in the future, where it goes on the dash here, the dash panel, which has got the air vent coming out of the bottom. That should solve some of those air blockage issue, but this does not block as much airflow because it is very small and it sits on the steering wheel panel. That also means you can adjust the height of this display by just simply raising the steering wheel up and down. So it has got a lot of possibility and flexibility on that. Overall, a really nice, unexpectedly good instrument cluster display. But again, I see a lot of displays and sometimes I get carried away by a display like this. So please keep me in check. Please let me know what you don't like. Be brutally honest about everything, and I will work with the vendors to bring you better displays in the future. Thank you so much for your time. We'll be back again with another Tesla accessory soon.